Hello everybody and welcome to another episode. In today's episode I am going to show you how to completely replace the spark plugs from any Audi S8 with the engine 4.0 TFSI V8. So right here for this vehicle I'll have to replace some parts, I'll have to do a full service interval, and also I'll have to replace the swivel links. And in today's episode I'm going to show you all how to replace the spark plugs on this kind of engine. In my case, I have an error code on the diagnostic tool which was telling me that the spark plug from the cylinder number 3 is not working anymore, and because of that I decided to replace all of them. So right here, this Audi S8 is made in the year 2015, but the engine from it is installed on many models made by Audi, like S6, SQ5 I think, S7 and something like that. And like I told you earlier, this is a very powerful car. It has over 520 horsepower. And also just listen how it's sounding. The exhaust is a little bit modified, but nothing too much. In my opinion, if you never worked on a car like this one, I recommend all to not start, because it's a very expensive car. You don't want to break anything, you don't want to make the engine or something like that not work how it's supposed to be working. So I recommend all, only if you have some experience, go ahead and try to work on your car yourself. But if you don't have any experience with the cars or something similar, I recommend all to not start at all, because it can be very dangerous and you can create more problems than you want to fix. So right here, this is the heart of the car. This is the engine 4.0 TFSI V8. It's a very big engine, it's a very powerful one. And right now, as you can see, with the top cover from the engine removed, this is how the engine is looking. This is how all the parts are installed over it. And if you want to replace the spark plugs, you have to replace them from the left side and also from the right side, because you'll have 4 in the left and 4 in the right. There will be 8 spark plugs in total. And if you want to replace them, I recommend all to remove the hose from the air box. You'll have 1 in the left and 1 in the right. You'll have to remove this hose completely. And if you feel that you have no space to remove the spark plugs, or probably you are not able to remove the coils or something like that, you can just remove the air filter box completely out from the engine, and in this way it will create you more space to work on them, and it will be a little bit easier for you to remove them out from the engine. So the first thing which you have to do is to remove the hose which is going out from the turbine into the air filter box, and after that you have to remove the harnesses or the connectors from the top of the engine, from the lateral left and right. In my case, I always like to clean the engine a little bit with some complimented air, because in this way I will get rid of any dirt and debris which can fall into the engine after you remove the spark plugs. So I recommend you to do the same and clean the engine a little bit, and only then you can go ahead and start working on it. Right now the hose from the air filter box is removed, and after that you have to remove all the connectors which are attached to the solenoids of the car. You'll have, I think, over 10 connectors which you'll have to remove from the left and from the right, and you'll have to use something sharp to put underneath the connector and pull it out slightly. Don't force it, because it will come out very easy if you know how to press the plastic clip. So I recommend you to be very carefully and not to break the clips, because otherwise the connector will not fit properly over the parts and over the solenoids. After that, you have to remove the big harnesses which is going on each side of the engine, and you have to remove the 2 bolts which are securing it mounted in place. Then you have to lift it up to create a little bit more space to remove the coils from the spark plugs. And after you remove the coils, make sure that the coils are completely removed, because they also have 1 screw which is securing them mounted to the engine. And after you remove the 1 screw which is securing them mounted to the engine, you can just lift them up. You'll have to wiggle them a little bit left and right, and eventually they will come up. And after that you have to remove the spark plugs from the engine, and you have to install the brand new spark plugs in their place. Alright everybody, so in my case I removed all the connectors which was attached to the ignition coils or to the solenoids or to the other sensors which are mounted over the engine from this side, and from here right now I'm removing the bolts which are securing the ignition coils mounted to the engine, and after that you have to pull them out and remove the spark plugs. Right here, the first ignition coil is out from the engine, and right now I can just remove the spark plug out from the engine. Right here, I will try to give you all a better look of how everything is installed over the engine, how all the harnesses and how all the cables are installed over this part of the engine. And if you lift the harnesses just a little bit right here, it will reveal the spark plug which is mounted right here inside the engine into the cylinder head. As you can see, it can be seen right there. You'll have to use a very long extension to reach it and to be able to remove it from the engine. Very good everybody, so right here I have the first spark plug which I removed out from the engine. It's looking very bad, it's very burned out, and normally those spark plugs are lasting a long while because they are some iridium spark plugs. They are the best quality spark plugs which you can buy out there, and in my case it's a very good idea that I'm replacing all of them. In my case the ones which I removed from the engine are NGK spark plugs, and I'm going to install the bare spark plugs in their place. To install the new spark plugs back into the engine, you'll have to make them fall into the engine, and you'll have to put a long extension and a long socket over it, and you'll have to tighten it to 30 Newton meters. One thing which I always recommend all to do, if you are replacing glow plugs or spark plugs or something like that, is to tighten them by hand the first time when you are putting them into the engine. So just make it fall into the engine, and you'll have to put a long socket and extension over it, and you'll have to tighten by hand a little bit until you are feeling that the glow plug or the spark plug will go into the threads correctly, and after that you can just put your tool over it and tighten it to spec. So as also the new spark plug is installed back into the engine, and right now I'll have to put back the ignition coil, and you'll have to tie the bolt for the ignition coil to 10 Newton meters. and you'll have to follow the exact same process and the exact same thing for all the spark plugs and for all the coils. Alright everybody, the ignition coil it's mounted back over the engine, and from here I'll have to follow the exact same process for all the spark plugs and for all the ignition coils, and I'm going to let you all exactly watch what I'm doing. I'm not going to explain you step by step because there is no need to. Just watch what I'm doing. The first one, it was very simple because the space was a little bit opened, but as you go forward and as you remove all of them, it will be a little bit difficult because you'll have to work on a tight spot, but it can be done, don't worry, because if you move the connectors and the wires a little bit left and right, up and down, eventually you'll have more space to remove the ignition coils, and you can do this work alone and with normal tools. And you'll have to follow the exact same process for the left side of the engine and also for the right side of the engine. Alright everybody, so as also on this side of the engine I replaced all the spark plugs, everything is tightened to spec, and from here the only thing which you have to do is to install back all the connectors to the solenoids and to the other sensors from the engine. And after I'm going to install everything back together on this side, I will move forward and work on the other side of the engine. You'll have to follow the exact same thing and the exact same steps on each side of the engine, so you don't have to worry because everything is exactly the same on each side. Right here on the left side everything is done, everything is installed back on the engine. I only have to install the hose from the air filter box and that's it. Right here in the left side I have the old spark plugs which I removed from the left side of the engine, and right here on the right side I have the brand new spark plugs which I'm going to replace it with. As you can see, the old spark plugs are looking like this and the new ones are looking like this. They're exactly the same, only the manufacturer is different. The old ones are NJK and the new ones are made by Bero. So with all of these things being said, it's time for me to go ahead and replace the spark plugs from the right side like I did on the left side. I'm going to speed up the video just a little bit because I don't want to make it too long, but the steps and the process are exactly the same on each side. So from here, just follow what I'm doing because in this way, you'll be able to do it in your place and in your car. Very good everybody. So as also I replaced all the spark plugs from this kind of engine on the right side, like also it was a little bit fast forward because I didn't want to make it too long, but the steps and the process was exactly the same like in the left side. So as also, this is how to replace the spark plugs from any engine with the size 4.0 TFSI V8 from any Audis like an S8 or S6 or S7 or something similar. And in my opinion, with all of these things being said, it's not a very difficult job to do. It can be done by anyone and everywhere. You can also do it in your parking lot. Doesn't matter if you have a garage or not. But I recommend you to buy some special tools to tie the spark plugs to spec, and most likely the job can be done everywhere. And right now I'm going to start the engine to see exactly if the engine is working correctly or not. This will be the first time when I'm going to start the engine after the spark plug replacement. So just hear how the engine is sounding. And as you can see and hear, the engine is working perfectly. I have no misfire. The engine is sounding very good. So in my case, the job is done correctly. I have nothing to worry about. And with all of this thing being said, this is how to replace the spark plugs from any engine with the size 4.0 TFSI V8 from any Audis like this S8. Thank you for watching. If you guys found it informative, please like and comment down below. See you next time.